What is up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We're back at Bagotstown. This is a new signboard here at the entrance to this new highway. It's the road connecting Bagotstown to the Eccles interchange. Right, this is the new road connecting Bagotstown to the Eccles interchange. The road is now open and there's a lot of traffic on a Monday morning. We just passed Eccles. Right, that's the signboard. I've already talked about these signboards. They don't meet international standards. They're not the kind of signboards you'll find on highways in other countries. That's the Eccles Assembly of God Church. That's where we are. And what we want to do is to take a follow-up look at the new Demerara Bridge. That's the new Demerara River Bridge. It's now over, what, 2 weeks? Just over 2 weeks since the last time we've looked at this bridge. We want to see how far they've come. I thought it would take 3 weeks for them to get to the riverbank, that is in paving the ramp, getting the ramp up to the riverbank. So that's the ramp. You can see from this distance. This is the East Bank public road at Bagotstown. The next village over is Peters Hall, and we're going to get there in a few minutes. But this is Bagotstown. The next village over that is north is Eccles, and beyond Peters Hall is Providence. So you can already see the bridge is over the public road. You can see that. That's a ramp to the Demerara River Bridge. It's already crossed over the public road. Bear with me a moment. My stabilizer, my gimbal is down, so I'm waiting for a new one to be shipped to me from Amazon. In the meantime, we're back to dealing with shaky video. Hopefully in a week we will get back to normal when my new gimbal arrives. But this is what is happening here at Bagotstown, Peters Hall. Now it's a Monday morning and it's about 7:30. It's about 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning in Guyana. Traffic coming towards me is heading to Georgetown. It's on the western side of this public road. You can see these yellow barriers in the center. Those are Jersey barriers. They prevent head-on collisions. They are actually standard protocol in most countries, dividing two-way traffic. And it's one of the few places in Guyana where they have actually been implemented. They need to be implemented throughout the country to deal with the safety issues. We're coming out of a week where a lot of tragedy has happened. Catch a glimpse of the bridge between. What you can see here is that but you can't see clearly here, but the cables have been installed on this tower. The cables connecting the tower to the bridge have already begun to be installed. You can see them I can see them, of course. I don't know if they're clear from this video, but you can see, or I can see, cables connecting those pillars to the bridge, the section of the bridge below the pillars. So those cables are beginning to be installed. And we're approaching the entrance to the old Demerara Harbour Bridge at this intersection. What I was about to say is that we're coming out of a week of tragedy. There was the drowning of a child, the death of a child who visited a hotel pool, and as a result of that there was significant unrest, and before that 2 young men were shot and killed, and since then other people were shot and killed. And the reason behind all of this is a lack of safety. So my reference to these Jersey barriers as a safety measure applies to everything else outside of the traffic and road safety realm. That means everything in Guyana is unsafe. There is no attention to safety. And so in the case of the death of this little child, the issue was in fact a lack of pool safety measures. A lack of pool safety measures that has spiraled into a political and religious conflict. But this is the bridge. Let's see, in this view you can see the cables from the tower, the bridge tower. So they've already now attached a few cables from the bridge towers to the section of the bridge below the towers, and they've done that in fact to both there are always people who want to see. I got you. So here is the second bridge tower, and you can see cables attached. And this is the Demerara Harbour Bridge, the old Demerara Harbour Bridge. Less than a mile away, it's about a quarter of a mile. That's about a quarter of a mile from the new bridge. Like I said, it's 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, and surprisingly there's not a whole lot of traffic heading to the west side, but the traffic going away from us is driving towards the west side of the bridge, west side of the river, Demerara Harbour Bridge. This is the pedestrian overpass here at Peters Hall, and of course that, for reference, is a little store here. It's a little restaurant that provides early morning breakfast. But this is what we're here to see. You can see in the distance that the ramp has been extended at least 2 more. See, the ramp has been extended at least 2 more sections, 2 more gaps towards the river, and it's that much closer. In 2 weeks they've added about 2 or 3 sections, two sections, probably moving at about 1 section per week, and my guess is that last time I was here that it would take 3 weeks to get to the riverbank. I thought it would take about 3 more weeks to get to the riverbank. Well, 2 of those 3 weeks have passed, and they are closer, but not by much, about 1, 2, they've closed 2 more gaps. In other words, the ramp was 2 pillars shorter than it is in this video today. But to finish that thought I was making is that there is no consciousness for the lack of safety protocols and precautions in Guyana. So on the point of the little girl dying by drowning, there was no record of pool lifeguards who were trained in CPR, which would be a necessary requirement at a public pool, or a pool that is accessible to the public, such as the one at the hotel. So there's no record of anyone talking about CPR training, lifeguard training. When they searched the pool, or they claim to have searched the pool, nobody dragged the bottom of the pool, nobody went into the pool, nobody dropped a coin into the pool to see in fact how deep you could actually see into that murky water. And so I don't trust any of the arguments that the pool was searched and they didn't find her. The pool wasn't searched, they surveyed it. Even if they jumped into the water, nobody dragged the bottom of the pool, which is what a safety protocol would require. So it's a lot of mess, and I've stayed out of the mess because I'm aware of the extent to which there's a lack of safety in Guyana. It's one of the reasons why I don't drive in Guyana, despite all of the stupid comments I get from some very silly people. I'm fully aware of how unsafe it is. But back to the bridge. So it seems as if there is still a significant section of the bridge that has to be completed. That is a ramp that has to be completed to get to the bank, the river bank. From this point, let me see if you can see those cables. You should be able to see cables from that vertical tower, those cables connecting to the platform underneath the towers. So they've already started to attach cables to this cable stayed bridge, but there are still several gaps to be filled between where the bridge is now and where it needs to be. The ramp needs to be to get to the riverbank. So this is where we are now. What you can see in this view that's different from the last time you were here is that they have completed the sections past the road. So this is the public road, and the last time we were here they were working on this section. They were working on this section, which is between pillar 2 and 3 west of the public road. And now they have completed the gap between pillars 3 and 4, and they've started working on the gap between pillar 4 and 5. So they've added 1.5, a little less than 1.5 maybe, certainly less than 2 sections in the 2 weeks since the last time we've been here. But they are making progress. Here again is another view of the towers. So there's a lot of overhead wires, those black wires running horizontally to obscure the actual cables on the bridge, but they're white cables now connecting the bridge, the tower, to the bridge. Now this is the section of the ramp that has been completed. We don't know how far it goes. I think it actually goes to the ground. It has been completed all the way to the ground level. The ramp, that is, has been completed all the way to the ground level. East, right east of the bridge. And this is looking west of the public road. That's the public road looking north towards Georgetown. And that's looking west. So what we're saying is that they have completed 1 gap, 2 gaps, 3 gaps, and they're working on 4, so 3.5 gaps since the last time we've been here. And they are at least 1, 2, 3, probably 4 more gaps, 5 more gaps before it gets to the riverbank. There are 5 more gaps to be completed. So my guess that is at least 5 weeks, because they're completing these distances, these gaps, at 1 per week. That's what's happening here. It's a Monday morning, and workers are actually showing up for work at the new Demerara Bridge. That's looking east. We're now going to walk under the bridge. They've closed the gaps between these concrete beams connecting the pillars, and they've already, I guess, started to work on the road bed that is going to lie on the ramp. So this is what it looks like in this direction. We've just passed under the bridge basically, and that's what it looks like looking east. We're now entering Providence. That's the Ramada Hotel, Georgetown Ramada Hotel and Princess Casino. So guys, we've just crossed from Peters Hall into Providence. That's the East Bank Public Road looking east, looking north to Georgetown. And the next village over is Peters Hall. And we're here that's the Ramada Inn. We're at Providence. That's the Ramada Inn, and this is the billboard for the new Demerara River Bridge. Where we are right now is here. We're at this section of the bridge. Let's see, we're about 5. We're about 5 of those gaps to the bridge. This is the public road, the East Bank Public Road, which we're standing on right now. That's looking south on the East Bank Public Road, and this is what the bridge looks like from Providence. Now these are the gaps that need to be filled. There are about 5 more of them to get to the bridge, to get to the riverbank, and I'm estimating that about 5 weeks. That's about 5 weeks of work to get to that pillar. So those pillars are at the river bank, and those gaps have to be filled. These are the ones that have been filled since the last time we were here. There's that half of a gap has been filled. Over here, that one was filled in the week since we were last here, and these two were filled the last time we were here. So the last time we were here, these two gaps were about to be filled. They were 1.5 filled. This is what the bridge looks like from Providence. This is how close it is to the hotel. And I've discussed that in previous videos, how that could be a problem. We'll inspect again in future. So the bridge is moving. That is, the ramp section is being completed. About one gap. They're closing one of these gaps between the pillars every week. And that tells me that we're about 5 weeks away from getting to the riverbank, Demerara riverbank. But they've already started to add the cables. This is a cable stayed bridge. And I can already see that they've started to add cables. Now let me see if I can show you what that looks like in this video. So if you zoom in on the platform and the tower, so that's the tower at the riverbank. Last time I was here, I assumed that they were finished, they were not going to go any higher, but now I think they're still building that tower taller. But as you go down the tower, you can see there are white cables. I guess they're not so clear in the video, but from what I can see in real life, they've started to add those cables to the bridge. It's about 7:30 in the morning. And you can see there are men already working on the pillars, that those towers that have to be built. And they're on top of the ramp. There are already men working on the bridge using that machine to fill the gap, laying those concrete beams. This is what the bridge ramp looks like on a Monday morning. It's now the 4th of March 2025. 4th of May 2025. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, and May 1st in Guyana was a national holiday, Labor Day. So we're in the rainy season. Guyana has 2 rainy seasons and 2 dry seasons each year. We're in the second or the first rainy season, the May-June rains. And so it's been raining every day, as it does in rainy season, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. And we've just witnessed one of those rain showers, waited it out, and now we can see what the bridge looks like. The bridge ramp looks like from Providence. See, there's some pools of water on the ground from the rain. It fell about half an hour ago. And that's the Princess Hotel. You can see that's Fun City. They have a entertainment center in the casino and a cinema, I believe. One of the outlets for Caribbean cinemas is here at the Princess Casino. But this is what we're looking at. This is what the bridge looks like from Providence. Now you can get a side view of how much distance still has to be covered. It seems as if the last pillar that's still being worked on, that pillar, is going to be about 2 or 3 times the distance between the other pillars from the bridge. And And so it'll be interesting to see how they fill that gap. They're already working on the bridge from the west side, that is from the other side of the river. I haven't really shown the bridge from the other side of the river in previous videos. We're going to get to that later on, but I'm sure other people have been showing that in their videos. We're going to get to see, as the bridge gets completed, how they join the west side and the east side of the river shortly. But yeah, this is what it looks like on the east side. Now you can see the first two pillars in the river. This is the high span. I refer to this as the high span section of the bridge. Those two pillars are already begun. You can see in this view the cables. So they've already begun to string the cables from the towers to the platforms, and those two pillars will hold the bridge up high enough so that ships can get under. And of course that is over the deepest part of the river, which is not in the center of the river, it's actually closer to the east bank. But yeah, this is what's happening here, guys. This is what is happening at the Demerara River Bridge, and they've made significant progress since the last time we were here. In other words, they're advanced beyond the overpass section. Remember, about a month ago we saw them completing the overpass section. And now they've completed at least 4 gaps, filled 4 gaps beyond the overpass section. 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps, and they're working on the 5th one. And they have another 5. So my guess is that another 5 weeks they will close the gap between where we are now and the riverbank. But that's what's happening here. Now the access road extends all the way to Heroes Highway, and that's about 2 miles in this direction. 2 miles east of where we are, in that direction. We're looking along Red Road. So this is Red Road, and 2 miles in that direction the access road runs. This is the intersection with the Red Road and Public Road, and that's what it looks like. The bridge, that is, looks like from this vantage point. So what is going to happen, from what I can glean so far, is that bridge traffic will be funneled away from the East Bank Public Road, 2 miles east of this location. And it means that if you want to get onto the bridge, you are going to have to drive east of the East Bank Public Road for about 2 miles to join the bridge, which is a kind of unusual arrangement, because it puts all that traffic through a new neighborhood, a new housing division that is being built by the Ahmad brothers, the sheriff group, and a number of other people, including Baldeo, who built the Richmond estate between here and the bridge, between here and the public road. It's going to put a whole lot of traffic through that neighborhood that runs beside the bridge. The access road runs beside Windsor Estates, that Windsor Estate complex housing development. So it's going to put a lot of traffic through that neighborhood, and that, I think, represents for me poor planning. But we're going to deal with that issue, the issue of planning, in future. But here's what is happening. This is the Amazonia Mall. So we're back at Amazonia Mall. We're standing in the parking lot section of the mall. That's Starbucks. And the mall over to the west, or rather south, that's the National Stadium, cricket stadium. They're actually building another one of these in Berbice. We're eventually going to get to that. Take a look, but this is what it looks like from this is what the bridge looks like from the parking lot of the Amazonia Mall. You can see the pillars, those towers that are going to support the high span section of the bridge. You can see the platform. There's somebody, I guess, working on welding, flashes of light. It's coming from a welding torch. You can see the cables that are now being added, and you can see the bridge ramp. They're still working on the ramp towards the platform on the high section. And behind the hotel, these two hotels, is the ramp that gets down to ground level in about a quarter of a mile. And then another 2 miles out to the east, where it meets up with the Heroes Highway. But that's what it looks like in this neck of the woods. I'm going to bring you further updates as time goes by, and especially of the access road and the entrance ramp. But that's what's up here, guys. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what you think about the progress on this new Demerara River Bridge. As you know, it's now costing about $260 million, but I'm pretty sure that's not the end of the story. My guess is they're going to actually have to add about as much, another $260 million US to complete this bridge, because of all the additional work, ancillary and accessory work that has to be done to complete the bridge, like the access roads, the ramps, and the engineering that's going into the intersection on both sides, intersection with the highway at the entrance to the bridge. But that's my view. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Tell me what you think about this, the progress on this bridge, in the comments below. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana. Later.